Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I want to tell you about how to be your own guru and why it's so important to be your own guru, okay? Because essentially, as a consciousness, as humans, as beings, we are moving up in consciousness, okay? And we are on the brink of moving out of guru teacher consciousness, okay, to the place where we all understand that all of us have absolute access to anything that we need to know, all spiritual teachings, all knowledge, all love, everything that exists, that each individual person has access to that stuff. And each individual person is being called and being asked to learn how to access that stuff for themselves, okay? And so the reason that I say this is because each individual is coming through from their very own perspective, okay? So you coming and you being who you are and you having your experiences and you learning to access your highest self and you learning to process and filter out and grow and learn and change from your experience is so much more valuable for all of us than for you to sit down and listen to a teacher who's going to tell you the answer of how to be happy, okay? Because the thing is that the only person, the only one that actually has full access to the information that will allow you to be happy and you to fully experience your life and you to fully become who you're going to become is you, okay? So spiritual teachers are great, okay? So I'm not saying never listen to anybody ever again. What I'm saying is that what needs to happen is we need to shift from people believing that there are people up here who are gurus who know stuff or spiritual teachers or whatever, and then there's the student who needs to study under someone. We need to shift to we all have access and then we all have something valuable to give to one another, okay? So the very first thing that I want to say in this video is that every single spiritual teacher on the planet, okay? Every single spiritual teacher who is in alignment with the highest good of all of us is saying the exact same thing, okay? All spiritual teachers, every single one of them, all they're saying, okay? We can literally distill everything down to none of this is a mess up, nothing is messed up. Everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. That's all we're saying. None of this is a fuck up. Every single spiritual teacher. So someone's teaching you the path of love, self-love. All they're saying, there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing happened to you that wasn't supposed to happen to you. There's nothing about you that's not supposed to be the way that it is. There's nothing missing. You're perfect, okay? People doing shadow work, what are they teaching you? Everything that happened to you is exactly what was supposed to happen to you. Everything that happened to you was for your growth, for your benefit, and you learning to go back and be okay with what happened to you is what's going to give you freedom, okay? People that teach the path of love, to love what arises. What are they teaching you? That everything that arises is what is supposed to be arising. The people that teach non-attachment, even them, they're teaching you to stop believing that something should be a way that it isn't. Or that so they're teaching you how to not be attached to something existing that doesn't exist, or how to not be attached to something not existing that does exist. They're just teaching you to be okay with what is. Okay, so and the people that are telling you to learn to love your emotions and to sink into your emotions and stop running away from your emotions and stop running away from your fear and stop running away from your doubt and stop running away from your anger. What are we telling you? Oh, that it's fine. That your emotions are exactly what they're meant to be. So what this means is that every single spiritual teacher is basically saying all pain on this planet, everything that causes you grief, everything that causes all the other compounding symptoms, everything that causes you pain is coming from a root of resisting what is, okay? So you're either in resistance to what is actually happening, assuming it shouldn't be happening, or you're in resistance to something not happening, assuming it should be happening, okay? And that is what causes pain. So each teacher is individually teaching you from their perspective how to love what is. And this is why all of the teachings sound a little bit different, because each teacher has come through and experienced resistance in themselves in a certain area of their life. They have learned how to release that resistance and therefore release all the negative symptoms that come along with resistance, and are now teaching you how to release resistance in that area as well. So for me, I'm teaching you how to release resistance to what's going on in your body. I'm teaching you how to release resistance to your body, how to release resistance to eating disorder, how to release resistance to these control mechanisms. And because that's my area of most resistance that I've worked through, okay? Other people are teaching you how to have resistance-free relationships. Some people are teaching, because they struggle the most with relationships. Some people are teaching you how to have resistance-free finances and abundance and understanding this concept of, you know, the never-ending supply, because they went through a period of resistance in that area. Health-wise, people are like physical healers are teaching other people how to release resistance to the stuff that's causing physical problems. And so what I'm saying is that we're all saying the same thing in slightly different ways, because we all have different degrees of how we resist life, how we believe life should have been different, or and then that is causing us pain. And then what we're doing is giving you tools for releasing resistance. That's all we're doing, okay? So, and when I say every spiritual teacher who's in alignment, there are lots of other spiritual teachers who are saying other different things that are not. Everything is perfect, and you just need to learn how to release resistance, and then you will be happy. And those teachers are here for a very good reason. They are here to teach us how to tune into our own selves, right? They're here to teach us that when we hear a teaching that's not in alignment with the truth, and it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel right, to reject it, right? They're teaching us how to not be in resistance to our own intuition. They're teaching us how to not be in resistance to our own knowing. They're teaching us how to not abdicate our responsibility onto someone else or something else to tell us the answer, even though in our own heart and in our own head it doesn't feel right, okay? So that's kind of the purpose of an out-of-alignment teacher, is that even they are essentially teaching us how to stop resisting our own self, how to stop resisting our own knowing. So what this means is that if every single teacher, all they're saying is that none of this is a fuck-up. All they're saying is that if you can learn how to love and embrace and be okay with what is, you will be free. You will be liberated. And on that journey, on the journey towards releasing resistance, so you realize you have all this pain, right? You realize it's because you're in resistance to a whole bunch of things. You start to shine the light of consciousness on those areas that you have been resisting and therefore ignoring, not looking at, cutting off, trying to separate out yourself out from, trying to run away from, trying to get away from, trying to make it be a way that it isn't. And that is what is causing you pain. As you go down that path, that is what leads to liberation. That's it. That's all you have to do. To be liberated, to be free, is essentially to be resistance-free. It's to be in a state of complete acceptance of what's happening in your life, what's arising, and to see how it all works together for good, and to fully know and feel that it's the exact right thing for you. And so essentially what all spiritual teachers are saying is that in order to get to that place, what you have to do is realize where you're resisting and invite love. You invite life. You invite light. You invite relaxation. You invite breath. You invite movement. You invite all of these different modalities as a way of helping you release resistance to what's happening. Because when you understand that as you release resistance to what's happening, the more you see how everything that happens is for your good. The more you see how absolutely every single thing that's ever occurred in your life, every single emotion, every single symptom you've ever had in your body, every single thought you've ever thought, every single relationship you've ever had, all of it has been to serve in your growth and your awakening, okay? And all you have to do is release resistance to that thing that exists, and that pain, and that fear, and that sadness, and whatever, and allow all of it. And then you will realize that you don't need to have this resistance, because absolutely everything is for you. But it's only through experiencing that, it's only through allowing yourself the journey of learning how to accept and how to allow and how to be with what is and not resist it, that you can get to this point where you see. So this is why the enlightened people or whatever all look like they're just like living in this peace bubble where nothing ever happens to them. It's because they see and they fully understand that absolutely everything that occurs in their life is for their good and for their benefit, and it's silly to resist it, and it's silly to run away from it. It's like trying to run away from someone who's handing you $1 million check. Like, it's just, that's what it's like for them, right? And the only way that they got there was by stopping their own resistance. Okay, so they were in resistance too. They were in resistance at some point. So they were in resistance in relationships, and they kept having the same terrible relationship over and over and over again until they allowed themselves to go into it and to stop fighting it and to stop trying to make it something different and go into all those hurt, scary, ouch places inside themselves and not run away and be with it and be with their pain and be with their sadness and be with their loneliness and be with it and shine the light of love on it, that their resistance to it all released, and therefore the trigger of the terrible relationship no longer needed to exist. Okay, so does that make sense? So then the people that have like healed their relationship with their body, it's not because they eventually like beat out the part of them that hated their body. It's because they went into that part of them that hated their body. They went totally into all of their symptoms that they hated. They went totally into, you know, the turmoil of everything that was going on and just allowed it and was okay with it and learned to be in it and breathe in it and bring light and bring love and see what it was really doing. And then again, those triggers no longer needed to exist to bring the light of consciousness, right? It's once you stop resisting, that's when all the shit that you don't like in your life is going to go away, because you're going to see it for what it is, okay? And then the trigger no longer needs to be there, because that trigger is only there to wake you up to the fact that it's for your good. It's to wake you up to who you are, to wake you up to what's going on. And that's why loving your triggers, loving what is, accepting what is, not being attached to life being a different way, and just allowing yourself to go into all of your darkness and see that it is perfect, is the road to enlightenment, and why all spiritual teachers are just saying the exact same thing. And thus, to be your own guru, all you need to do is recognize where you're having pain, identify where you have resistance, invite light. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then you can look to other spiritual teachers as like a validation. That's the word. They're just validating your experience. They're just telling you what you already know. They're just saying, yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're all doing. We're all on this path. And so they're not telling you anything you don't already know. They're not teaching you anything you don't already know, because they can't. Okay, so that's the other thing. The enlightened master cannot teach you anything from their level, because their consciousness is at a totally different place than you. So they can say all these words, and it's not going to mean the same thing to you that it means to them, because their consciousness level and your consciousness level don't match. And therefore they can't really actually teach you anything. All that a teacher can teach you to do is how to release resistance. And that's only if you decide that you want to release resistance. So, the way out of pain, the way to enlightenment, the way to happiness, the way to joy, the way to being your own guru is simply to identify where you have resistance and to slowly and surely invite light and invite relaxation and invite allowing. And that's all you have to do. No spiritual teacher is saying anything else, okay? It might all sound fancy, and we might, like, you know, they talk about different dimensions and we talk about heart space and da-da-da-da-da. It's all the same thing, okay? It all boils down to the same fundamental truth. All pain and all darkness comes from resistance, okay? And darkness isn't even a real thing. But you'll see that. When you start to stop resisting darkness, you'll see that darkness isn't a thing. But, and so no spiritual teacher is right and no spiritual teacher is wrong. They're all just speaking from their point of reference based on what they used to resist and are now in allowing, okay? So you are your own guru. Just stop resisting. And I know it's much harder said than done. That's your journey. And that's all of our journeys. And so there's no race and there's no way of getting there faster. But just know that that's all that it is. It's not that complicated. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I love hearing from you. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Urban Fruit Bat. Follow me on Facebook perception trainers and know that I am not your guru. I am just another person learning to release resistance along with you. So, talk to you in the next video.